quick reminder of the teams. Middlesbrough, Stephen in goal. Back four, Smith, McNair, Lenihan and Giles. In midfield, Force, Howson, Mowat, and Hackney playing on the left. He has been playing in central midfield, but went out to the left-hand side because of the injury for Ramsey the other night, and he will, we expect, stay in that role today. And there's going to be Akpom just off Archer up front. Hull, Cardalo in goal, 150th championship appearance of his career tonight. Core, McLaughlin, Greaves and Elder. Syed Manesh, Seri, Slater and Vaughan. And Traore and Pelkas up top. Now the two teams are just swapping around. Middlesbrough in all red, Hull in their change kit, white shirts, black shorts. They will kick from left to right, defending the river end of this stadium in the first half. Well, the last time Middlesbrough played Hull, a Borough success, brought Michael Carrick his first victory as boss. 3 days later, Liam Rosenior took over at the Tigers. Now, less than 6 months later, Carrick's been nominated as manager of the season. His side in the top four, not the bottom four. But all that matters from this point is where they're playing their football next season. No such doubts over Hull's future. They too have flourished since the change at the helm. Can they now end Middlesbrough's hopes of automatic promotion? We're underway. Borough kicking from right to left. And laying the ball straight back for Lenihan, who will find McNair at the heart of the midfield. It is a very experienced Middlesbrough side. And here's Ryan Giles making the 150th appearance of his career, the young left back, the league ever present this season, who's on loan from Wolves. He's had a career full of loan spells. This is the 7th loan spell he's had by the age of 23, and he's in possession now, able to ring the ball over the halfway line. Middlesbrough making good progress towards the edge of the penalty area. Force waiting in the middle if the ball can come in. Hackney's laid it back instead. Chance for Alex Mowat to deliver. Back it goes instead for Hackney. Hull just keeping a tight, regimented shape behind the ball whilst Middlesbrough have all this early possession. McNair played out to the Middlesbrough right-hand side. A foul on Tommy Smith and a free kick to Middlesbrough just inside their own half. Alongside me, former Leeds manager Neil Redfern.
Yeah, good. It's interesting, you know, how Hull City have set up. You know, they're obviously denying space in behind. They're aware of Archer's pace. And it's Middlesbrough that have most of the possession. Very comfortable playing across the back line. Both centre midfield players dropping in, Howson and Alex Mowat, who I know well from my time at Leeds. Player that's got real ability on his left foot. It's quite a cautious start though from Hull.
90 seconds in on what has been a glorious Teesside afternoon. A little bit of wisping smoke from the refineries down the Tees from here, just visible as the blue skies being replaced by more purpley hues as night begins to fall. Middlesbrough on the front foot here with Akpom. Played out of the left-hand side for Giles. They'll flood the bodies forward quickly. 4 red shirts in the penalty area, but he's only been able to pick out Darlow with a cross that had slightly too much air underneath it.
Yeah, a little bit more quality needed from Giles. I mean, it's a great position that he takes up coming from behind the ball, from left back, and he's got the chance to curl that behind the back line of Hull City, but finds the goalkeeper's hands, which is a little bit soft.
Well, a reminder that Manchester City's game away to Bayern Munich is live for you right now on Talksport as again, day 10 of 25 consecutive days of live football. We give you a choice of listening this evening. And that's over on Talksport right now with Manchester City defending that 3-0 lead. Hull with an opportunity to bring it forward. Vaughan doing well in the midfield, and he's spun the ball out towards the left-hand side. This is where Hull might be able to cause problems, getting forward quickly. But it's Pelkas with a shot, a right-footed effort from the edge of the penalty area, and it's a very comfortable save for the stooping Zach Steffen. Yeah,
good break by Hull, to be fair. Made their intentions known there. You know, the full-back galloping forward as well, Callum Elder. And unlucky he came inside on his right foot. It's a decent strike by Vaughan, but straight into the keeper's hands.
6 games taking place in the Championship tonight. Already goals in 3 of them. Queen's Park Rangers leading Norwich 1-0. Lyndon Dykes has scored there. Gareth Ainsworth's men with only 2 wins in the last 27 games. Only 16 goals in that. It's not a record that's charged to Ainsworth by and large, but they lead Norwich by a goal tonight. Goal to nil on the night. Swansea wallop at home to Preston. Joel Perou's 18th goal of the season, and Watford who've only won 3 of the last 15, still in with a chance of a playoff place, and they lead Cardiff, who are in relegation trouble. Ismail Assar is the man that has scored that. Cardiff above the drop zone on goal difference alone at the start of the night, 1 goal better than Reading. But they trail by a goal to nil. Reading just underway. Their match at home to Luton's at 8 o'clock kickoff. That one is 0-0 in the very early stages, as is this one, with 4 minutes in here at the Riverside Stadium. Middlesbrough 0, Hull 0. Hackney doing well to leave it as Howson will bring the ball forward. Mowat with a layoff down for Giles on the left-hand edge of the penalty area. Hackney, who's a very industrious figure in that midfield, has got it again. A nice little reverse ball from him, and he gets it back onto his right foot. He's hit the post, drove it in from about 15 yards. He had the goalkeeper beaten. He went for the near post, and the pace did for Darlow, but it smacked back off the frame of the goal into safety.
Yeah, brilliant play by Borough. Very patient in and around the box. They work their way to the final third so well, but they don't just throw the ball in there. They're happy to keep possession and work the ball around, in and around the edge of the box. And when the shot comes in, it's a beautifully struck effort. It is the foot of the post. I mean, it's more by good luck than good management that Hull City is still at 0.
Well, he's a local lad, Hayden Hackney. Is a Scottish under-21 midfielder, but he hails from just downriver from here at Redcar. He's making the 50th league start of his career tonight. He scored his first goal on this ground on Friday in that 5-1 win. Might have added to it there, and might add to it here as he's played it on the edge of the penalty area. Mowat able to flick it with his left foot out towards Marcus Force. Force trying to drive it in. A cross that was blocked by Elder, but that all came about after some really poor distribution from the back. Middlesbrough's press, too good for Carl Darlow.
Yeah, it was, and you know, we're talking about Liam Rosenior's beliefs and what he wants his side to do, playing out from the back, but that's suicide, to be honest with you. You know, you can't do things like that. You're not giving yourself a chance.
So Middlesbrough dominating. We're 5.5 minutes in. They've already hit the post in a game that is 0-0. Just a reminder of the maths of the situation. Middlesbrough can't get automatic promotion if they fail to win this game. They also can't cement a playoff place tonight mathematically, but if they win, they will only need a maximum of 1 more point. Akpom making his way forward inside the penalty area, went to ground. The referee, Andy Davis, says goal kick.
Yeah, perfect example there of Chuba Akpom, and how he times his runs from late, just in behind Cameron Archer, and he breaks into the box brilliantly. Good close control. I'm not sure there is a penalty shout there in it for Borough, but obviously all the crowd up shouting, but fantastic start from Middlesbrough.
He's a former Hull player as well, Chuba Akpom. He had a loan spell in the East Riding in his Arsenal days, where he scored 7 goals in 1 season. And he has been a 7-8 goal a season man throughout his career till he moved to Greece, and now this season, where he's got 28 in 37, including, remarkably, 20 in his last 17 games here. Vaughan trying to make his way forward at the other end. Saad Manesh putting a little bit of pressure on inside the penalty area. He's been able to turn his man. Can't quite work the angle to be able to get a shot in. And it'll come out for the young blonde-haired teenager Vaughan again on the edge of the box. Now Seri, the one-time Fulham man. Coyle will bring it forward. Coyle curling it inside the penalty area towards Saad Manesh. The problem was he was lying down injured inside the penalty area at the time, and in no position to go for it, and Middlesbrough are going to be able to bring it away.
Yeah, what a covering tackle from Ryan Giles, by the way. Tracked his man all the way across the box. He's got a sight of goal there, to be fair, but what a fantastic challenge. Clean as well, took the ball.
Well, Harry Vaughan had a big part to play in the move leading up to it for Hull. He only made his debut for the club on Saturday. He has benefited from the manager's faith in him in these circumstances, but also the major injury problems that Hull have been suffering with recently. The player signed from Oldham back in January, a young Irishman, still only 19, and Liam Rosenior saying in his pre-match interview today, I'm really excited about seeing him play. There's no pressure on him. I'll take all the pressure off his shoulders. Just go out and enjoy the game. And so far, he certainly looks as though he belongs at this level, bearing in mind it's only his 2nd appearance in the Football League. We're 8 minutes in at 0-0.
Absolutely. I mean, I look at Hull when they've regained possession. They know where they're going with it, you know, and that can often be thrown at a side that defends deep. You know, that they know there's spaces that are looking to attack, and can they get bodies in there? but they know exactly where they're going. Hull City, they switch play a couple of times where they've caught Borough on the hop, and they've nearly got in front of goal a couple of times now.
In the WSL tonight, Manchester United lead Arsenal by a goal to nil. Alessia Russo scoring deep in first half stoppage time in that game. You're not missing anything here. Saad Manesh has received a little bit of treatment inside the penalty area, is being led away. The winger side from Fenerbahce is an Iranian international who's also had a spell in Ukrainian football. He's okay, he's back on his feet, unable to continue. Ball is with Giles. Middlesbrough have hit the post inside the opening 8 goalless minutes that we've had. Ball played back here for Lenihan, and the forward Blackburn man works it forward down the left-hand touchline for Giles. Giles to Hackney. Hackney back inside his own half. Lenihan just turning. Middlesbrough, you would expect, will end up probably with possession in the very high 60s, low 70s, something like that, and I would imagine that it's something of that regard already. Ball back to the goalkeeper. Well, it's in fact 65%. That was a good guess, wasn't it? This early in the game, 2/3, 1/3, and yeah, it's going to be pretty constant like that. That will play into Hull's hands in a way. They'll be more than happy to not have the ball for long periods. It's what they do with it when they can potentially launch counter-attacking opportunities that might hold the key for them.
Yeah, just looking at Borough as well. You know, they're really reluctant to just throw the ball forward. They want to try and play through the thirds if they can. Alex Mott, the fullbacks are really high. Ryan Giles and Tommy Smith, and it's the two centre midfield players that are taking them little slots, dropping in, try and get on the ball and recycle it and work it through. But to be fair, Hull have been set up really well.
A free kick given away by Saad Manesh on the near touchline with foul on Giles. They're playing Vaughan and Traore through the middle, Hull at the moment. Saad Manesh on the right, Pelkas out on the left, with Seri and Regan Slater, the two central midfielders. That's how Hull have organised things tonight. A slight variation on what they did at the weekend, where they held Blackburn Rovers to a goalless draw. Middlesbrough working it wide, an opportunity to try and get the ball forward. It's Akpom that has dropped deep to receive possession. He lost out to Pelkas, who will try and poke it forward for Harry Vaughan. Traore can't get in there before Howson, who's running back, and Middlesbrough will regain possession, but in a deeper position towards the edge of their own penalty area. 11 minutes gone, and it's still 0-0. 11 minutes gone in the two Champions League games tonight as well. They are still both goalless. And in the other games in this division, Queen's Park Rangers lead Norwich 1-0, Swansea 1, Preston 0, and Watford 1, Cardiff 0. You're with Talksport 2, Jim Bradford and the former Leeds United manager Neil Redfern talking you through the action from the Riverside Stadium on Teesside tonight. As the ball is played by McLaughlin, the Hull centre half, back to his goalkeeper. Aldalo is on loan from Newcastle, playing it out with a bit more conviction than his last one, which he just presented to Mowat in a potentially dangerous area. Now Greaves, who's playing at centre half because of injury, ordinarily a left back, so Elba is playing at left back with Greaves in the middle, rather than being in his more customary role wide on the left of the back four. Middlesbrough playing it forward again, but given away by Tommy Smith. And here's Vaughan. Shock of blonde hair, played forward by him, but cut out easily by Middlesbrough. They try and work it forward really quickly when they do turn over possession. They're so good on the counter. Force has got it. Hackney's made a good run ahead of him. Force coming into a central area, and he's forced a good save out of the diving Darlow, who got down quickly to his right-hand side, and a strong hand tips it round the post for a corner.
That's a brilliant strike from Marcus Force. Cuts inside on his left foot and drives at the penalty area. It's struck low and hard to Darlow's right-hand side, and what a fantastic save from the big keeper. Used all his inches there to tip that round the post.
So Middlesbrough have a corner, and they'll be taken on the left flank. Akpom waits by the penalty spot. Slater is detailing him, and Akpom is 6 inches taller than him. Ball is fired in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, but as soon as he was in flight, referee Andy Davis spotted an infringement and has given a free kick Hull City's way inside their own penalty area.
Yeah, that'll be a relief for Hull City. That's the last thing you want for Borough, somebody shoving somebody in the box, and it just lets the opposition off the hook. Silly foul to give away.
This is a Hull side who, as we've been saying, have been quite resolute under Liam Rossinho, and they've not won too many. They've probably drawn pretty much half the games that they've had since he took charge and won less than 30%, but they are tough to beat. The only defeat they've had in the last 8 at home to Burnley. No shame in that, bearing in mind how Burnley have ripped the division up this season. And in fact, on the road, they've only lost to one of the top 9 away from home all season, which was at Sheffield United.
Yeah, it's a decent run, to be fair. I mean, one of the traits that they've got is they're very, very comfortable in possession. You know, I know they take a risk at times, and we've seen that. You know, Darlow playing the ball straight up Mullet's feet on the edge of the box, but they're not frightened to have the ball. I think that adds to it. You know, it makes them difficult. If they've got the ball, then Brother can't score. But they have been quite resolute in the other games.
Darlow plays it out and finds Slater, but again, Middlesbrough's press looked as though it might be able to cause a few problems. I'll work it from the left-hand touchline back through the midfield. McLaughlin has got his captain coiled to his right-hand side. If he needs him, he'll stride forward. It's a good ball as well to find Syed Manesh. He couldn't find a way through past Giles, who defended it well, and clears down the touchline, but Hull will mop up again with McLaughlin.
Yeah, they've made a good fist of this. You know, I've been impressed with the start by Hull City. You know, they're not frightened to put the ball at risk as well. It's a great little through ball to find Syed Manesh. Ryan Giles really had to bet his best there to recover and get the tackle in, but there's nothing between the two sides at the minute.
And the last 3-4 minutes have seen Hull just have a little bit more possession than before. A lot of it inside their own half. And now it's driven forward out towards the far touchline, where the pocket of travelling Hull City supporters are standing. They've got about 400, 450 have made the journey up from the East Riding of Yorkshire tonight. Ball is over on the left-hand side for Hull. Traore just has his legs swept away from underneath him, and it's a Hull City free kick, about 20 yards outside the box.
Yeah, it's a silly free kick to give away by Alex Moore. Just getting a little bit frustrated there with Hull keeping possession well across the pitch. But this gives him a free kick in a decent position, to be fair. Both centre-backs are up. Stepping into the line, which is held on the edge of the box. Red and white shirts in between.
There's been a goal in the Champions League, and not in the Bayern Munich game in the other one. Inter Milan leading Benfica 1-0, so they're 3 up on aggregate. Inter have only won one of the last 8 games. That was the first leg. And they lead this one as well with Nicola Barella, the man on target. Benfica with it all to do. 0-0 here at Middlesbrough. Free kick works short to Seri. Now Coyle will be able to bring it forward and play it down the left-hand side of the penalty area for Vaughan. He couldn't find a way past Moa, but he has got a throw about 10 yards from the corner flag on the left-hand touchline. Hull electing to play it short. They've flooded the penalty area, got everybody forward, and then tippy-tapped it around before trying to get the ball inside the box. Take the throw, work it back. Coyle's got it again. Must be a frustration when you're a centre-half and you made your way forward and the ball is never any sign that it was going to be forthcoming, really.
Yeah, I think he changed his mind, to be fair, before going wide, but putting themselves under a little bit of pressure here, Hull, but they're not trying to try and play them balls. You know, like I said, they put the ball at risk, midfield third, final third. Very comfortable with it.
A big goal towards the bottom of the table in the Championship. Cardiff have equalised at Watford with Keon Atete on target there. Watford 1, Cardiff 1. Cardiff going into the game on the back of 2 straight defeats and 10 losses in the last 15 games. But Lamouchi's men on level terms with Keon Atete. So 1-1 there. And Reading immediately below them in the table, still 0-0 at home to third place Luton, who are hoping to extend their unbeaten run to 11 tonight and keep their automatic promotion hopes alive. Middlesbrough, likewise, they have to win this game if that's going to happen. They hit the post early on through Hackney. It's 0-0 at the moment. Syed Manesh for Hull, who've had the majority of possession in the last 4 or 5 minutes or so. Now the ball is played out by Greaves to the Hull City left-hand side. Slater to Seri. Seri thinking about a shot, just a disguise. Good ball back, getting side-footed narrowly wide. Really good chance for Pelkas. It was a really good move around the edge of the penalty area. Traore's little wall ball back to him, set him up perfectly, and he tried to give the goalkeeper the eyes. Aimed for the bottom left-hand corner, went the other way, but he missed by a foot.
Unbelievable. If that goal goes in, that's right up there. I mean, there must have been 8-9 passes there to build the way in. Very patient, very aware in and around the box, little give and goes. And just a little bit of a lull in Middlesbrough's play, and you can sense, the crowd sense it. You know, they're not happy with the start. There needs to be more energy in this from Borough.
Long ball play forward from the back. Middlesbrough mixing it up, and they have been able to get Cam Archer in. He's hardly been involved so far. Player with a fantastic future ahead of him. A young man on loan from Aston Villa. Giles will fire the cross in. Too high for Akpom. It's going to be brought down on the right-hand side of the penalty area. A little double ricochet there. Smith with the delivery, and then a brilliant defensive header from Coyle as the cross came in, and he had Hackney coming in behind him, and Coyle somehow managed to get his head to it and not steer it into the net. Middlesbrough bring it forward again. Howson, Hackney, and then a flick header goes narrowly wide from Archer.
Yeah, good play by Borough. Again, very patient in and around the box. They've come alive in the last 2 or 3 minutes. And it's a great ball in, to be fair, by Hackney, and he's unlucky there, Archer. A little bit bigger in the touch, and that drops in the back of the net.
You were talking earlier about Cam Archer and what a fantastic player he is, one of the most sought-after forwards from outside the Premier League. I know he is a Premier League player on loan at Aston Villa, but he really has impressed. 4 goals and 4 assists in his last 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect loan, to be honest with you. He's done himself a power of good. You know, he's impressing in the side that are doing well in the Championship. He's fit in comfortably in this Borough side. He's at home, coming in short and taking the ball and coming into little pockets of space, or running in behind his pace to go in there. And you know, he's very aware of his teammates in and around him. And I think one of the biggest benefits of it is Chuba Akpom coming from midfield with the amount of goals that he's got.
He had a little spell in non-league football on loan from Aston Villa at Solihull Moors, where he struggled to really get into the game. Well, I first saw him playing for Villa, where he got a hat-trick at Barrow in a League Cup tie, and it was almost jaw-dropping. Playing against League 2 players, okay, but the movement, the precision, the finesse of the finish, and it really looked like a player, and he has been banging them in ever since. I mean, his goal record in his senior career, 26 in 58 at the start of your career, very, very impressive, and I think he'll do well somewhere in the Premier League next season. 0-0 at the moment. In possession, but going backwards just for a moment with Slater under pressure, and the force that eventually by Marcus Force to put the ball out. It did take a deflection off the Middlesbrough man. It's going to be a throw that will be taken by Hull. Midway inside their own half, over on the far touchline. Night beginning to fall. We're just shy of the midway stage of the first half. It's Middlesbrough 0, Hull 0 here on Talksport 2.
Yeah, I think both sides will be quite happy with the way they started. I know Borough have 2 or 3 chances. Could have been in front quite easily, but you know, on the other hand, Hull City have had just as many, and they've looked very comfortable in possession. Yeah, they take risks, you can see that, but it's what the manager wants, and at times it's got Hull in some really good positions.
It's the thoughts of Neil Redfern. I think I've fulfilled a career ambition tonight. I've sat alongside you at a game between 2 sides that you didn't play for. Middlesbrough will bring it forward. It's laid back to the goalkeeper and cleared by Carl Darlow. He was beaten by that early Hackney effort. Cedric Kipre has scored for Cardiff, who've turned it around at Watford. Watford 1, Cardiff 2. And that would be a massive shot in the arm for them in their relegation battle. Similarly, Swansea now 2 up at home to Preston. Swansea mid-table, Preston still with aspirations of a playoff place, but find themselves 2 down. Joe Allen has scored the second goal in that game. Still waiting for the first goal here, Middlesbrough against Hull, and it's just become a little bit cagey.
Yeah, it has, and I think that the frustration from the Borough supporters is that maybe the lack of energy, and they're wanting Borough to jump and press and go after this Hull side. They've seen them take chances, and they're reluctant to do it at this moment in time.
Reeves, 4 for Slater, just got caught there by Marcus Force. Fans not too happy with the decision from Andy Davis, and no complaints from the Middlesbrough winger. It's just going to be spoken to by the referee, who actually took charge of Hull's win over Borough in Hull last season. Hull have won 3 of the last 4 meetings, but last season's victory here, one of only 2 that they've had in Middlesbrough since 1986. So it's not been a happy hunting ground for them here in Ayresome. Ball Work down towards the right-hand side for Hull to attack, and Syed Manesh has done well, good strength, got the better of Giles, gets it inside the penalty area, and not the best cross, which was easily dug clear by Lenihan. And Mowat then told to play it forward on the half-turn, and in doing so, she's poked it back to a man in white. Seri, now to Traore, back from Vaughan. It might ricochet back into Vaughan's path, again inside the penalty area here, but he can't just quite get the ball clear of Mowat. And Giles will be able to clear from inside his own penalty area. Hull will come again with Syed Manesh. Yarding from the right-hand touchline. Laid back for Coyle. Court to Traore, to Seri. Back for Traore again. Good movement coming off the ball here from Slater. Slater down towards Syed Manesh, just outside the penalty area. Core making a run on the overlap. It goes back for Slater again. A lot of this passing football from Hull very easy on the eye, but not necessarily accompanied by a cutting edge. And when they get it, they end up being forced back by Borough's press and back inside their own half to the goalkeeper, Carl Darlow.
Yeah, it is. I mean, 2 or 3 times that perhaps they could have put the ball at risk there and whipped it into the penalty box. You know, they'd white shirts in there to go and attack it, but obviously it is part of the way that the manager wants to play. I mean, they've been keeping clean sheets as well. You know, in some of the games, they're difficult to try and wrestle possession off. I mean, it's a really interesting game. There's a bit of frustration here through the Middlesbrough crowd because they're used to their side having the ball a lot at home, particularly at home.
Yeah, it is a Borough side that have won 9 of the last 11 here. But finding Hull a tough nut to crack after that opening 5-6 minutes where it looked as though it was only going to be a matter of routine for them to find a breakthrough. They came close. But since then, there's been very little in the way of goal mouth action. So as things stand right now, Blackburn, who lead Coventry now by a goal to nil through Sam Gallagher, will be up into the playoff positions. They climbed to 5th with a win tonight. They haven't had a win in the last 5 games, but they lead Coventry by a goal to nil. Similarly, the Sky Blues, if they win that game, will also end the night in 5th. Middlesbrough will know that they're going to end possibly in 3rd, depending on what happens with Luton. Middlesbrough would need to win this game and Luton lose at Reading for that to be the case. Borough 3 points behind Luton, but with a better goal difference. Both the games involving those two sides 0-0 at the moment. Here's Harry Vaughan for Hull towards the edge of the penalty area. Turns it back for Seri. Seri to Pelkas. Pelkas with 2 Borough players around him. He turned very neatly. Slater then tries to work it in. Traore gets towards the byline and wins Hull's first corner of the night. Yeah,
Brilliant defending in the end. I think it's Darrell Lenihan that gets across and blocks, but that central area is a real problem for Borough because they're so clever with the give and goes and the 1 and 2 touch play that they're working angles and getting efforts at goal. Hull City started really well. I've been impressed with them.
So Traore will take this corner. It's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from the Hull City right. They've got 1 player inside the 6-yard box. They've got 5 more who are going to arrive from late. So work short to Seri. And then Traore gets it back and fires a more potent swinging delivery inside the box, which was easily headed away.
Yeah, it's a great defended header from Paddy McNair. The 2 of them, both Lenihan and Paddy McNair, have been really instrumental in a lot of good stuff that Borough have done, particularly defensively.
Louis Coyle with the throw. Syed Manesh with a little bit of improvisation, trying to back heel flick. It didn't come off. Hit force, went out of play for a throw down by the corner flag, which Coyle will go across the take. Not too far short of 100 Hull games now for him. Traore laid back by Syed Manesh for Coyle. Deeper towards halfway from McLaughlin. And the Irishman will find his goalkeeper, Carl Darlow, but he's out sweeping up almost on the edge of the centre circle. As an extra defender for a moment. Now the ball worked out towards the left-hand side. Vaughan has it. Just a little hot, the ball in. Elder, I think, crossing once it had rolled over the line and out of play for a goal kick, and indeed the flag is up. And it is a goal kick which will be taken by Middlesbrough. But 28 minutes in, and not murmurs of discontent, that would be a bit harsh, but the frustration's audible from the locals here.
Yeah, and you can see the frustration in the Borough players as well, because they know they're in a game here. Just look at their possession stats, 55% in Hull City's favour now. You know, and that's come from this last 5-10 minute spell very, very comfortable in possession, Hull City. I think from Middlesbrough's point of view, they need to try and get on the ball again and start passing it, working it through.
Well, if the home fans are getting a little bit frustrated here, I can't imagine what it's like at Vicarage Road, where Cardiff have scored 3 in 10 minutes. It's Watford 1, Cardiff 3. Sorry, Cabba has scored the latest. That's the kind of result that Cardiff need to extricate themselves from this relegation battle. Middlesbrough bringing it forward here with Hackney. McLaughlin slid in, could only half steer it clear. Mowat for Akpom, out towards the right-hand side. Smith with the delivery, but he missed force, and it's knocked away by the whole back line and out of play for a throw. Smith wanted to take it quickly, but there was no one immediately making their way forward in support. So eventually he throws it back for McNair, the one-time Manchester United defender. And he exchanges passes with Lenihan. 0-0, 29 minutes gone. And as you mentioned, the dynamics completely changed. It's almost Hull with the possession and Borough now on the counter-attack. But they'll be able to bring it forward with Giles. Giles inside the penalty area. Down for Hackney. Hackney to Giles again on the corner of the box, trying to get his way past Coyle. It was flicked on dangerously by Force, but nobody could get on the end of it. And then Mowat has fouled his man Vaughan on the edge of the box, and it's a free kick to Hull. That's
a great opportunity. There's Ryan Giles again, chopping forward from left back. It's a lovely curling ball in with his left foot. And there's red and white shirts throwing the bodies at it, but they managed to clear the ball, Hull City. But just going back to the league table as well, you know, the bottom of it's nearly as interesting as the top. I mean, the results that are coming in, you know, it's QPR winning, Cardiff winning. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's not a good night to be a Huddersfield fan.
No, they've dropped to just above the bottom three.
Reading also at the moment with a positive result, being held by Luton. So as things stand right now, reading up from the bottom, Wigan 37 with 3 games to go, Blackpool 38 with 3 games to go, Reading 43 with 3 games to go, Huddersfield 44 with 3 games to go, Cardiff 45 have the game in hand, QPR 46 and Rotherham 46. Everybody else is out of it, but even Rotherham in 18th would be only 3 points clear of the bottom 3. Rotherham, a side that Middlesbrough still have to visit, will bring you that game. It's on Bank Holiday Monday, May the 1st.
I think, to be fair as well, Jim, I mean, it happens every year, doesn't it? But I don't know why we're surprised, because all them at the bottom start winning.
Yep.
Picking results up.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what makes our football so good.
As long as you don't support a side who are embroiled in a relegation battle, then it's great. And it's great to watch on from afar. And if you do, and you can get out, it's a feeling like few others as a football supporter. I've still got everything crossed that my lot will be all right. Giles playing it back for Lenihan. Lenihan to McNair. We're in the final quarter of an hour of the first half here on Talksport 2. Jim Bradford and Neil Redfern talking you through the action where it's still 0-0 and largely chanceless between Middlesbrough and Hull. Pelkas with a good opportunity for Hull. Hackney hit the post for Middlesbrough. He's got it now. And he's worked it back for Smith. Akpom. No sign of an opportunity for him to add to this magnificent goal-scoring tally, but not yet. You would imagine something will come his way. Howson goes out towards the right-hand side of the penalty area. Marcus Force flicking it in. Hackney trying to help it on, and Akpom right on cue wasn't too far away from that, but McLaughlin could get it away. And then Middlesbrough will turn it forward again, and it looked as though Slater might be able to break forward quickly. Howson used his experience not just to foul him, but to make it look as though he didn't mean to do it.
Yeah, and he got away with it. I think the referee's been very lenient there, to be honest with you. I'm not sure, is it Tommy Smith that committed the foul anyway? But the referee was really lenient. But they've given as good as they've got in this game so far, Hull City. You know, this wasn't in the script. You know, they'll be pleased with it. Liam Rosina will be pleased with how his side's played. You know, they've moved the ball really well across the pitch.
They've had a few low-scoring games recently, and they've struggled to score goals because of the lack of options that they've got up front. The leading scorer of the men in the starting lineup tonight, as you pointed out to me, Regan Slater, who's got 5.
Yeah.
And we're in April.
Yeah, obviously it doesn't bode well, but you know, you sort of wonder how they've only got, you know, low scores, because they've created some unbelievable chances, to be honest with you, even in this game against the top side.
Clean sheet in the last 2 games. They beat Millwall in one of those by the odd goal. But they did have that extraordinary 4-4 draw at Sunderland thrown in there as well, so they can be very open, pushing forward. They'll well to come back and get themselves back into that game, having trailed. Got 2 more live games for you on the Talksport network tomorrow. It's day 11 of 25 straight days of live football. Tomorrow night, Manchester United go to Seville, and West Ham are at home to Ghent in the second legs of their respective European quarter-finals. And we've got both games live for you. Sevilla against Manchester United here on Talksport, on Talksport, and West Ham against Ghent on Talksport 2. They both kick off at 8 o'clock tomorrow. And here and now it's 0-0, just over 10 minutes to go to half-time. Ryan Giles bringing it forward for Middlesbrough. Saad Manesh putting it away, out of play for a throw which Borough will take. Still 0-0 between Bayern Munich and Manchester City, which is live for you right now over on Talksport. If you've got the Talksport app, incidentally, you can just swipe one way or the other to keep abreast of all of the live action. Friday, Arsenal can go 7 points clear at the top of the Premier League to face basement boys Southampton. Build-up starts at 7, ahead of an 8 o'clock start on Talksport. And this weekend, amongst much more, let me point you in the direction of both FA Cup semi-finals. Manchester City, Sheffield United at 4:45 on Saturday. Manchester United, Brighton at 4:30 on Sunday. The Borough have it. Play forward into the feet of Mullet. Just a perceived lack of urgency at times from Middlesbrough. The ball is right down the line for force. Is it difficult? They've got 4 games to go, Neil Redford.
Yeah.
They know they're going to be in the playoffs. Let's be realistic about it. It's not going to finish in the top 2. They're not going to collapse and end up 7th. So it kind of doesn't really matter what happens over the next 4 games. And this has almost the feeling of a performance where it doesn't really matter what happens over the next 4 games.
Yeah, and I think this has almost got the perfect storm about it, because you look at Hull City, who you'd probably not fancy to play the way they've played. I mean, they've played some fantastic football in this game so far, and Liam Rizzini's got to be really pleased with his players, and it's just added to that, you know, that awkwardness of this fixture. It's come on the back of a really, really good performance against Norwich City, Middlesbrough, where they, you know, spanked them 5. So it's almost like after the Lord Mayor's show, it's a little bit of an anticlimax about it.
Swansea lead Preston 3-0 now. Harry Darling has got the latest. Down in South Wales tonight. And that's a massive blow for Ryan Lowe and Preston North End, who'd won 5 out of 7 coming into the game and were still very hopeful of a playoff place. Could still happen for them, of course, but 3 down at half-time away to Swansea. Slater, back for Seri. Seri forced back, good pressure by Akpom. He just forced Greaves to hurriedly play it out into a wider position, and Middlesbrough turned it over as a result of that. Howson getting involved, now work forward again through the midfield. Cam Archer, left footed shot! Oh, it's only a fraction wide. Minimal backlift, and he arrowed one towards the far post, and not too far wide of a diving Darlow.
Yeah, for all that good short passing that Middlesbrough had in that build-up there, he only had one thought there, Cameron Archer, and that was to get his shot away. Fantastic finish. And you're right about no backlift. You know, it's almost like a boxer's jab, the effort at goal, and it whistled wide of the post. Could have gone in easily.
4 goals in his last 3 games here. Got a brace against Preston and followed that up with another against Norwich in that 5-1 win on Friday. Hull bring it forward now with Coyle, controlling it right in front of his manager. Seri through the midfield for Slater. And back he goes from Slater to Greaves. I talk about Slater being the leading scorer on this whole side. That's of the 11 that are playing tonight. And he might be able to add to it here. And his low left-footed shot is well saved. Stephen getting down swiftly and beats it behind for a corner.
Yeah, again, it's that central area. They're having a problem in there, Middlesbrough. They've got a little bit of rotation from wide players, strikers dropping in, centre midfield players running beyond. They actually fashioned a good opportunity there. It's a good save by Zach Steffen. Low down to his right, hitting the target.
He has scored in 2 of the last 3 away games, Slater, at Reading and at Sunderland, and not too far away from adding to it there. Hull get another corner out of it. Work the last one short. What will they do with this? Traore, again, he's the man taking charge of it, and he does fire it straight inside the penalty area. Stefan punching it clear. It'll break for Vaughan, but the whistle is gone because the ball has curved out of play from Traore's delivery. So it's going to be a goal kick that Middlesbrough will take. 6.5 minutes to go to half-time. Listening to Middlesbrough Hull on Talksport 2 with Carly, the UK's #1 lager, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. Here are the views of Neil Redfern.
Yeah, it's been a really cagey game. There's some good football played by both sides. Very, very confident in possession, both teams. Probably Borough have had the better of the chances, but to be fair, Hull City, they've given as good as they've got.
Coyle chipping it forward towards halfway. Moa just waiting for the ball to get there. It seemed to take an eternity after a bounce, and Saad Manesh was closing him down very quickly. Middlesbrough get it back. McNair for his goalkeeper Stefan, who, having taken a first touch, had to hurriedly whack it upfield with his second, with Vaughan closing him down. And then Hull try to win it back with the Iranian Saad Manesh again. And Middlesbrough can bring it forward. Hackney's got it, and is unlucky that the ball is flicked off the Iranian, or flicked by the Iranian off him, and out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Hull City right. What will Michael Carrick be saying to his side at half-time? How does he get more service to the stellar quality at the top end of the field?
Yeah, I mean, there's some little tweaks that could go on here. There were a little phase of play earlier on where they'd really got Hull City playing backwards and sideways, and they could have jumped into the press. I think he's been looking at that from his team. Need to be a little bit more on the front foot. Need to be more goal aware as well. They tried to pass the way in often, and they could have been shooting from the edge of the box at times.
Coyle bringing it forward as Benfica equalise away to Inter Milan on the night in the Champions League, with Frederick Auschness scoring that goal. But they're 3-1 down on aggregate. The Italians looking set to book that Milan derby Champions League semi-final. And everything's still hunky-dory as far as Manchester City are concerned. They haven't found the breakthrough away to Bayern Munich, but they're still 3-0 up on aggregate live over on Talksport with 5 minutes to go to half-time. Hull have another corner. It's their third of this first half. 4 to go to the break here. Chari addressing the ball. Sends it in, left-footed. Oh, it's brilliantly headed in. 1-0 Hull. And it's a magnificent goal. Left-footed, in-swinging delivery. And Greaves has come to meet it, is it? Who's got the touch to steer it in at the near post. It's all about the quality of the ball. Middlesbrough just statuesque, waiting for it to get there. And Saad Manesh is the man that has got the touch, getting across that near post area and heading it in towards the far post and in for 1-0.
Well, if Borough thought it was going to be a tough game tonight, they definitely think it now, because that was an unbelievable delivery. All the going in one place as soon as Saad Manesh got his head on it. His timing of his movement fantastic in the 6-yard box. Lost his marker. Rose and Klein flicked it perfectly back into the far corner across goalkeeper Zach Stefan. And probably it's what Hull City have deserved. They've played their way into this game.
Aliyah Saad Manesh, whose only goal this season came in the 4-4 draw at Sunderland a couple of weeks ago. And he's given Hull the lead here away to Middlesbrough. 3 minutes before half-time. Well, that is a goal that, unless Middlesbrough can fight back, will stop them getting automatic promotion. 40 goes from McNair. What will the Borough response be? They have been flat by their standards tonight. Particularly in the wake of that brilliance that they showed Friday night against Norwich here on Talksport 2. And a sliding challenge wins the ball back on the Hull City left. Having a venture inside the Middlesbrough penalty area. Borough have a player down inside the box. Play goes on. Hull playing to the whistle as they're entitled to do. And Moat eventually is able to dig it clear. And now the ball is out of harm's way. Play will stop, so that the stricken Middlesbrough defender can receive whatever treatment is necessary. 2 to go to half-time. It's Middlesbrough 0, Hull 1.
Yeah, this has totally gone away from script for Borough. 2 Borough players down as well now, but you know, you've got to give Hull City credit here. They've come with a way of playing. You know, Liam Rosini, he wants his side to have the ball, he wants them to play through. And the set place delivery was absolutely fantastic. Whipped in low, left-footed, right across the 6-yard box. And Syed Nemenesh really climbed brilliantly and guided it back into that far corner. It was a finish of real quality, deserving of putting Hull City in the lead.
Well, Borough have got plenty on their mind. It's Tommy Smith who's down, injured inside the penalty area, face down in the turf. Marcus Force is also down on the edge of his own penalty area, and he too is being attended to. He's being helped back to his feet now, but Smith is still down. Now, we talked about the fact that Middlesbrough's season so wholly dependent on 2, maybe 3 playoff games, and they have to be at full strength going into them. That's the bottom line. That's the most important thing as far as Michael Carrick is concerned, and the last thing he will want to see is one of his key players being down injured. Smith, a man who's not missed too many games over the course of this season, very experienced right back and still receiving treatment. Hopefully that's just concussion protocol over on the far side of the penalty area, attending to him, and they're just making sure that everything is okay. And he'll be jumping back on his feet in a moment. I fear that might not necessarily be the case.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, that's on the back of Ramsey being injured as well the other night against Norwich. But you're right, you know, you get to this point of the season and you're after your team into the playoff scenario with good momentum. You know, you want all your squad intact if you can, or with very little injuries, and key players going down injured is a massive blow for Borough.
Well, the stretcher is being taken onto the field. And Anthony Dyksdale, who hasn't seen any first-team action since late January, is the man that is getting ready to come on and replace him. The Dutch-born Surinamese international who can play at right back. He can play on the right-hand side of midfield as well. So he's ready to come on. We're in 3 minutes of stoppage time, but those 3 minutes won't start until play resumes, and we could be a good 2-3 minutes away or so from that happening, unfortunately. Smith just still being attended to. A couple of other Borough players are over there as well, looking concerned with the situation as well they might. Your next live action from the EFL on the Talksport network comes Saturday tea time. That's the Lancashire Derby, playoff chasing Preston and Blackburn meeting at Deepdale, which is Saturday at 5:30 here on Talksport 2. And if all that wasn't enough, all 10 games from the midweek round of Premier League games next week are exclusive to the Talksport network, including the small matter this time next week of Manchester City against Arsenal. That's a week tonight, kicking off at 8 on Talksport. Well, the good news from a Middlesbrough perspective is that the stretcher is being taken off the field now, and Smith isn't on it. It's just being used to carry all the medical equipment off. He's back on his feet. We're seeing a replay now of how it happened. He slid in, right-footed, and he's got a Hull player landing on top of him, and I don't know whether he just landed on top of his kneecap, and that was what I think caused the problem, but he is back on his feet.
Yeah, I think it might be his back, Jim, to be honest with you. He's almost like twisted. You know, when he was sat up, he didn't look comfortable at all. Well, he's having a gentle jog now down the touchline, but that might be something to look at half-time for Michael Carrick.
Well, so Force is going to be allowed to come back on, and Smith has followed him back on. So Middlesbrough restored to the full complement of 11. Hull, in fairness, a very good sportsmanship, just passing the ball between themselves at the back whilst those two are getting ready to come back into position. Handball there by the goal scorer, Syed Manesh. Well, I talked about the quality of the delivery for the goal, but it was a decent header as well. A great movement across the near post.
The timing was fantastic, wasn't it?
Middlesbrough can bring it forward again, and they've got another player down injured this time. Just dropping like flies at the moment. It's Hackney who is down hurt here. He's just feeling his right ankle after a heavy challenge came in on him, and that will elongate stoppage time even further. We've still got a couple of minutes left to play. Middlesbrough 0, Hull 1 is the score.
Well, this is going perfectly for Hull City at the moment in time. It's, players being broke up with people going down injured. I know you don't want to see people going down injured, but from a result point of view for Hull, keeps their clean sheet intact and try and get to half-time. Fantastic goal to put them in front.
Have won 5 games away from home this season, Hull City. All 5 of those wins came against bottom 8 clubs. This will be a very significant scout for them if they can win this. Middlesbrough still with plenty of time though. Giles bringing it forward. That's not a bad ball inside the penalty area, just swerved away on the curl from Trooper Akpom, and then Howson was in too strongly and has given a free kick away on the edge of the D, which Hull will take, and they'll be in no hurry to take it as the clock ticks into the 5th minute of first half stoppage time.
Yeah, a little bit clumsy there from Johnny Howson. Reads the knockdown really well, gets onto the ball on the edge of the box. But to be fair, young Harry Vaughan's battling and fighting back and takes the ball off him. Howson pushes him in the back and he goes onto the floor, but they've got to be really pleased with this half, Hull City. They've really took the game to Borough. When Borough was in the ascendancy early on, not anymore.
Have drawn the last 4 away games. They're 8 without an away win since a 4-1 victory at Wigan back on January the 2nd, but they're going to have a half-time lead here. The last knockings of the first half just are being carried out in front of our eyes now. Referee Davis has looked at his watch. Still time, I think, for Middlesbrough to take this throw. Giles with it. Back for Lenihan. Lenihan controlling the ball. Just waiting for the pressure to be applied by Traore before working forward towards halfway. And the half-time whistle goes. And a little bit of frustration, understandable frustration from the Middlesbrough faithful. They had the perfect start, but just taken away from them by a coat of paint on the post. Hackney with a right-footed effort that beat Darlow, came back off the frame of the goal. But Hull, after a nervy opening 7 or 8 minutes, if anything, have been the better side of the possession. Pretty level in terms of attempts. Middlesbrough have had the better of them in terms of number, but Hull probably the better of them in terms of quality. And they scored the goal with a corner delivered by Traore, brilliantly flicked in with a head of Syed Manesh 3 minutes before half-time. At the break, it's Middlesbrough 0, Hull 1-0. So I'll run through the 2 teams for you then as we get back underway. Middlesbrough, Stephen in goal. And now Dyksdale, McNair, Lenihan and Giles. Jones, Howson, Mowat and Hackney. And Akpom off Archer up front. Hull, Darlow in goal. Coyle, McLaughlin, Greaves and Elder. Seri and Slater in central midfield. Harry Vaughan playing through the middle with the Traore. Syed Manesh on the right-hand side. And Pelkas on the left. Here is Dyksdale, his first touch of the ball in Middlesbrough's first team for 3 months. Lays it back for McNair. And then Stephen, the goalkeeper on loan from Manchester City, who's only got 1 clean sheet in his last 8 games now. Just plays it out towards Dyksdale again. And Dyksdale almost lost it and then did well to flick it in between Vaughan and Syed Manesh and get Johnny Howson going. Howson to Hackney, to Howson again. Little layoff comes from Archer. Akpom will make his way forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Stretched to try and bring the ball under control and couldn't quite. And the sliding challenge from Callum Elder puts it out of play for a Middlesbrough throw. Yeah, a little bit more purpose from Borough, that. Much better. Need to move the ball a little bit quicker if they can, because they've got something to defend now, this whole side. Howson taking a throw. There is more intensity and a better tempo about Middlesbrough in the opening 90 seconds of the second half. Dyksdale try to find a way through. Vaughan poking it back, looking for Syed Manesh, who has switched flanks in this second half. He's on the left for Hull now rather than the right where he was in the first half, so he's still on the near touchline as we look at it. And the ball is put out of play past him for another throw that will be taken by Middlesbrough. Dyksdale taking it down towards the dead ball line, checks, turns back inside, finds Jones, good ball from Jones. Mowat inside the penalty area for Middlesbrough, comes back out to feed Akpom, urged to shoot. The 28-goal marksman lays it off instead. Mowat back towards Jones. Jones driving it in right-footed, it's clear. Middlesbrough pick up the seconds again on the edge of the penalty area. Another chance for Dijkstale. They tried to deceive Syed Manesh, who was like a can-can dancer for a moment, high kicking to try and block the cross, which didn't come in. It was a dummy from Jones, but when the cross eventually did come in, he was able to block it and put it out of play for another throw. But a little bit more purpose about Middlesbrough in the red at the start of the second half.
Yeah, there is, and there needed to be honest with you, because they're a little bit sluggish towards the end of that first half. I'm just going back to Syed and Manesh, and he's been a real feature of this whole side. Took his goal so well. He's worked tirelessly up and down the wing. Really is a good player for him.
Dijkstale lays it back here for McNair. Now Mullet coming forward. Side putting it down the touchline. Another opportunity for Jones to try and deliver, and he's checked back inside, beating Syed Manesh this time. And then his own clearance after the initial one fell his way is misdirected and miscued out of play for a corner, which is only Middlesbrough's second of the game. And it'll be taken on the right-hand side. Giles coming across to take it as Middlesbrough try and build up a head of steam at the beginning of this second half. They've only won one of the last 4 games. That magnificent victory against Norwich the other night. Well, what can they do to get themselves back into this one? Stefan, incidentally, just came across and had a word with the Middlesbrough coaching staff just for a moment. But all seems okay. He's taken up a station again near the edge of the centre circle. Plenty of pushing and shoving going on inside the box, which is why we're waiting for the corner still to be delivered. Giles raises his right arm above his head. Now he swings it in. It's well claimed by Carl Darlow. And it remains 1-0 to Hull with 4 gone in the second half. Yeah, that's the one place it can't go straight into the goalkeeper's hands, because it just takes all the pressure off Hull City. You know, they can get on a second phase if Hull get a clearance, but can't go in the keeper's hands. Ball is bowled out, and Seri has turned quite beautifully to try and get Hull going again. Jean Seri, who played in the Premier League for Fulham, promoted last season, but left the club to come to Hull. Scored the winner on his debut against Bristol City, but hasn't scored since. Slater, his partner in crime in the heart of the midfield, was put under all kinds of pressure there. He didn't quite deal with it as elegantly as Seri had, but effectively enough, and he's got it forward towards Vaughan, and he was pushed by Jones, and it's a free kick which will be taken by Hull 10 yards inside the Middlesbrough half. He's looked okay, Harry Vaughan. Yeah, I tell you what, his game as well, the little fella, he only looks about 12 years old, you know, in his white and black strip, but do you know what, he's got heart of a tiger, definitely, and he's competing in that midfield for Hull City. Did brilliantly there. Great take on his left foot, drove with it and got a foul for his team. Right, talk about this being Sheffield United's night. Get this: Reading 1, Luton 0. Andy Carroll with a header from a corner, so the team's third and fourth both trailing as Hull bring it forward here, and a rasping drive from Louis Coyle, who made his way to the edge of the penalty area. He didn't have too many options either side of him, so went for goal, but fired it wide. As things stand then, Reading out of the bottom 4 as they lead Luton, and it's Queen's Park Rangers who've dropped into the relegation zone. QPR 1-1 at home to Norwich at the moment. Reading leading Luton by a goal to nil. Hull leading at Middlesbrough by a goal to nil, and Sheffield United would be nearly there if the results stayed like that. Yeah, I mean, it's looking a little bit ominous that way anyway. You know, I think the Blades have sort of got themselves in there on merit, you know, without relying on other people, but always helps when results go your way. Borough have it left-hand side of the penalty area as they try and get back on level terms, and it was blocked well again by Coyle, who was able to react and turn and then get the ball clear, put it out of play for a throw. Just to reiterate, as things stand right now, Sheffield United would only need 2 more points to gain promotion, and they might even have it done this weekend, where they don't play a league game. They are instead in that FA Cup semi-final against Manchester City. We've got it for you live on Talksport. That's the one that kicks off 4:45 on Saturday, but in the opening 15-20 minutes or so of the action from Wembley, we will keep you updated with everything that happens in all of the EFL games. Neil, what are you spotting? I'm just looking how high and wide that Hull City are prepared to stay
You know, Syed Emanesh is really high and wide on this left-hand side, and Harry Vaughan on the other, making it difficult for Borough to keep that back four intact. It's been a problem for them all the game. You know, they make the pitch expansive because they pass the ball well. You know, they're able to play in little pockets of space and make advantage of it.
So that was a free kick that was taken by Carl Darlow, the Hull City goalkeeper, about 5 yards in from the right-hand touchline, as Syed Manesh was a yard in from the left. They were making it so wide, the pitch, just to illustrate Neil's point. Syed Manesh hasn't got a player from either side within 18 yards of him as play restarts again. Over on the Hull right-hand side, the switch of play always on. Here's Vaughan. Syed Manesh has got cover now. He just flicked it out towards the touchline. Oh, he's quick, and he's just outpaced his man Dijkstale, who came back in the nick of time and flicked it back to his goalkeeper. But Vaughan played it forward into space. Syed Manesh looked third favourite, and he just went up through the gears. Blistering turn of pace.
Yeah, he's been an eye-catcher tonight, to be fair to him. Syed Emanesh, really quick, great touch. I mean, he took his goal terrifically well. I mean, he's got the blessing of his manager to stay high and wide and not track back and help us full-back Callum Elder, but part of the plan, and it's causing Borough a problem.
Can play through the middle, he can play out wide. He's not a prolific goal scorer. He's a 1 in 5 man, not quite a 1 in 5 man throughout his career. Aside from Fenerbahce, he's been around the block a bit for somebody who's only 21, but he has caught the eyes. One for the notebook without a shadow of a doubt. Another goal back for Preston at Swansea. Swansea 3 up at half-time. It's now Swansea 3, Preston 2. The impressive youngster Tom Cannon on loan from Everton got the first of those. Troy Parrott has scored the second. Swansea 3, Preston 2. And North End making a good fist of it to try and get themselves back into it in this second half and help their push for one of those lower playoff places. Reading 2, Luton 0. Andy Carroll has been sent off in that game for a second bookable offence, but Reading lead Luton 2-0. Middlesbrough on the front foot now with Jones. Ball inside the penalty area, side put it in. It's Hackney. It's 2-2 for him, and Middlesbrough are back on level terms. Great delivery from Isaiah Jones. Hackney walking onto it. He'd never scored a goal on home turf before Friday. Now he's got a couple. And 10 minutes into the second half, Middlesbrough 1, Hull 1, and Borough keep those hopes alive.
Yeah, it's a great goal, to be fair. And as soon as that ball goes in behind Callum Elder, he's got a problem, because the little fella, Isaiah Jones, is quick. And he did him in a leg race, and it's a great little cutback. He goes, rather than across the 6-yard box, he cuts it back to the second 6-yard box. And who's arriving there just at the right time? Hayden Hackney. And it's a great finish. 1-1.
Third of the season, the fourth senior goal of Hayden Hackney's career. He got one on loan at Scunthorpe last season, and now Dijkstale will bring it forward. But Syed Manesh used his pace in a defensive capacity there to come back and regain possession for Hull on the edge of the box. That second Reading goal, incidentally, has been disallowed. So it's Reading 1, Luton 0. Carroll with the goal, but 2 yellow cards for him, and he is off. Reading down to 10 men, but still leading third place Luton by a goal to 0. Fourth place Middlesbrough, back on level terms at home to 16th place Hull. And Hackney's given a free kick away over on the far touchline, and lent over Louis Coyle to offer an apology. The whole captain caught, and it's a free kick to the Tigers.
Yeah, I think he's just caught him in the face accidentally. I think he recognised it, to be fair, Hayden Hackney. What a tremendous young talent he is, by the way, Jim. It's a great ball cut back to him, but he keeps his composure. It's all on one touch, gets a slight deflection, which helps it beat Carl Darlow, but it's always going in the back of the net.
Hayden Hackney's one of our own, is the song that emanates around these parts. Remember, he's from just a few miles from here in Redcar. Just wonder how good he could be if Middlesbrough ended up getting promoted. you would imagine he'll see fewer minutes on the pitch next season than he has this, but he also looks as though he's the player. Come back to that in a moment. There's Middlesbrough bringing forward and score again, and it's Archer, and they've scored twice in 3 minutes to turn this around, and the Riverside is in raptures. Play down the right-hand side of the penalty area. Archer beat his man. The angle was against him, but the form he's in didn't need a second invitation, and he slots it low through the legs of the goalkeeper to make it Middlesbrough 2, Hull 1.
Well, you've got to ask questions about the centre-back, Sean McLaughlin, because he's caught in all sorts of bad positional play, and the goalkeeper makes it easy for Archer, but doesn't matter for the striker. Finds the far corner, and early, really, it goes under Carl Darlow. But he's another one that's been an outstanding player for Borough this season, and he's scored his goals at just the right time. A great finish. Flipped this game on its head.
So that's 5 in his last 4 games here. Cam Archer, 9 in 18 he's got in this loan spell. So Hackney on 56, Archer on 58, and there's a different feel about the game now. Middlesbrough 2, Hull 1, with that double strike in double quick time. That means that Middlesbrough still have a chance, however faint it may be, of automatic promotion.
I mean, 2 goals in 3 minutes early in the second half. You know, you've got to ask questions if you're Liam Rosenia. Too easy for them goals to be conceded.
Hull won it back in the midfield. There were complaints that Akpom was fouled. The Tigers get it forward. Vaughan into Syed Manesh, who knew that he had to be quick, but couldn't quite be quick enough to control it and play it forward, and it's taking a touch off and goes out of play. Going back to what we were saying about Hackney before the goal was scored, I think his minutes would go down next season, but he certainly looks as though he'd be a valuable member of any Premier League squad.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the beauty of him as well, he can play obviously a central midfield. That's where he's been playing alongside Johnny Howson. You know, but with the injury to Ramsey, he's occupying that left-hand side. A little bit narrower. He's not a winger, but he's playing wide for Borough, if you like. But he's an outstanding young talent. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah, Hackney only 20, Archer 21, Ramsey, who you were talking about there, another youngster on loan from Villa, he's only 20, he's Jacob Ramsey's younger brother. As you may well be aware, he's scored in his last couple of games, but misses out through injury tonight. He's got 5 and 8 starts for Middlesbrough in this loan spell. And the Borough on the front foot again now with Jones, as Manchester City take the lead in Bavaria through Haaland, and another right-footed shot comes in, and that's 3-1. What a stunning spell this has been for Middlesbrough. And Michael Carrick comes to the edge of his technical area to embrace Chuba Akpom, because that is the record. He's the first player since the championship was rebranded back in the early years of the 21st century to score in 9 successive home games in the championship. Goal number 29 for Chuba Akpom. He's hardly had any service tonight at all, but when half a chance came his way, he's blasted it in, and Middlesbrough, with 3 goals in 5 minutes, turn this around, and inevitably Chuba Akpom is in on the act.
What an unbelievable finish, by the way, Jim. He'd got no right to get his body around this, and it's an unerring finish right back across Kyle Darlow into the far corner. Gave the goalkeeper absolutely no chance. I mean, this game has been turned on its head. Hull City have not played badly today. They've not come out in the second half, to be fair, but Middlesbrough have just blown them away within 4 or 5 minutes.
Chuba Akpom with his 29th Middlesbrough goal of the season. 28 of those in the league. He is the leading marksman in the division. He scored in his last 9 games here, and that's 12 goals in that time. He's all told scored 20 in 18 league matches on this ground this season. 29 goals have come from 75 shots It's a goal every 103 minutes. And he's now scored the most league goals in a season for Middlesbrough since Alan Peacock 60 years ago.
That's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal achievement, and he's in such a rich vein of form. You know, there's massive pluses for Middlesbrough all over the pitch, not to mention the manager as well. You know, everything seems to be going their way this season.
Are they going to make a change very shortly in a desperate bid to try and stop the rot here? 3 goals they conceded in 5 minutes. Ozan Tufan is the player being ready. Middlesbrough hungry for more. Archer out wide to the left-hand side of the penalty area. Low ball in. Oh, it could have been 4. Mowat didn't quite get there. Then on the edge of the penalty area, Howson was pulled back. Free kick to Middlesbrough, and it's barely a yard outside the box. And a yellow card is shown to Vaughan for the challenge. Incidentally, yellow card also shown to Akpom, who whipped his shirt off in celebration after scoring that record-breaking goal. He's the first player to score in 9 successive home matches at this level since Kevin Phillips did it 25 years ago.
I'm not sure about that as a yellow card. He was, taking your shirt off to celebrate. You can always put it back on again. You're taking the soul away from the game. He scored a goal for crying out loud. But just look at Borough now, and they're just in this second half. It's almost like a different Middlesbrough. They've got on the front foot. Not mentioned much of Johnny Howson, but brilliant play to intercept that on the edge of the box to win the free kick. I mean, this could end up again in the back of the Hull City net. You've got Alex Mowat stood over it. You've got Johnny Howson stood over it. Both capable of finding the net from this distance.
So there are 5 in the whole wall, and they've got a player down in the draft excluder position behind the wall. Mowat, hands on hips, looks the favourite, hits it, left-footed, and it's gone over the bar.
Yeah, he's never going to come down. The high tariff, to be fair, you've got to get it up and down really quick over that wall, but Hull City making a substitution now. The youngster coming off.
And you described him as being game, and he really has been that. Harry Vaughan, he gets a big embrace from Liam Rosenior as he leaves the field. Ozan Tufan with a little bit more experience coming on. You also described him as looking as though he was 12. I'm not even sure he does that. 10 maybe. But I suppose that as you get older, they all look younger as you get older, don't they? But he's going to be a player.
Oh, hey mate, I mean he's played well tonight. Yeah. I thought he's been an outstanding performer. In that first half when Hull City dominated at times, I thought he was really instrumental.
So here's Ozan Tufan on as a substitute for Hull. Just the first ball fall from him. McNair can watch it back to his goalkeeper. Stefan with the clearance. Dyche-Stale sticks out there at right foot. Appeals for handball in there. Middlesbrough whack it away, and it goes out of play for a goal kick away to our right hand side. Inter Milan, they're going to go through. Lautaro Martinez has just scored his 18th goal of the season. They're 2-1 up on the night against Benfica and 4-1 up on aggregate. And just to reiterate, over on Talksport, Erling Haaland missed the penalty, but his 48th goal of the season, his 12th in 8 Champions League ties this season, has given City a 1-0 lead on the night and a 4-0 aggregate advantage. And those semi-finals are going to be Manchester City against Real Madrid and Inter Milan against AC Milan. And we'll have them for you on Talksport. Middlesbrough in possession inside their own half.
They look a different side now, Borough. Jim, down the mojo again. Passing's getting zipped about a little bit quicker, a little bit more urgency in what they're doing, a little bit more freedom. They're in control of this game now.
Dyche-Stale works it back for his goalkeeper. Middlesbrough able to turn. Howson, and then play forward by Mowat. Hackney takes over to Akpom on the right hand side. Chuba Akpom has it again. Right footed is clipped forward towards the edge of the penalty area, but cleared by Coyle, and then Hackney running onto it 30 yards out, and that really was high tariff. You can find it under optimistic. Shanked it off the top of his boot and goes out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken away to our right hand side. Worryingly, from a Middlesbrough perspective, McNair has gone down now. He's holding his thigh, and that would be a problem. as far as Borough are concerned if he's not going to be able to take a part in their playoff campaign through injury. No suggestion that it's serious enough that is the case at the moment, but the Middlesbrough coaching staff are on, just having a look at that problem that Paddy McNair has clearly picked up.
Well, this would be a massive loss, to be honest with you. And what they can't afford to do is they can't afford to be losing the amount of players they are at this moment in time going into the playoff situation, because Paddy McNair and alongside Darrell Lenihan have been a real mainstay of this Borough back four. Absolutely brilliant this season. And hopefully it's only a slight strain, but gives the rest of the Borough players and the whole players a chance to go and get a drink on the side. I bet Liam Rosini can't believe what's hit him. I mean, his team was well in this game at half-time and they've just been blown away.
Well, they're not going to take any risk with McNair, unsurprisingly, so Matt Crooks comes on, a player who scored at Bristol City in his only start since mid-January, a midfielder by trade, so he's coming on. I would imagine they'll put Howson back at centre-half, will they?
Yeah, it's looking like that, yeah, it's looking like that. Hackney comes back in midfield alongside Mowatt.
And Crooks will go out to the left-hand side for Middlesbrough, midway through the second half. This is how it's looking late in the other games in the Championship. Blackburn 1, Coventry 0. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Norwich 1. Swansea 3, Preston 2. Watford 1, Cardiff 3, as it was at half-time. Middlesbrough bringing it forward again towards the edge of the area. That's taking a deflection. They'll get a corner. It's an Archer shot that just flicked off the nearest Hull City player. And it was a good recovery from Greaves, actually, because he stumbled but then was back on his feet to flick it wide. So those scores I've just told you all, it's 7:45 kickoffs. They're all in the last 5 minutes or so. This one 3-1 to Middlesbrough. Reading down to 10 men. Andy Carroll sent off, but he has scored the only goal of the night. Reading 1, Luton 0. They've got 18 minutes left to play there. We've got 20 minutes to go here. In comes this Middlesbrough corner, works short into the feed inside the penalty area. Back out towards Jones. Jones to Giles. Play forward towards Akpom, didn't quite get there. And Hull are going to be able to get it away. Work it down to Ozan Tufan. Dyksdale slid in but couldn't come away with possession. Chari finds Jean-Michel Seri. Play forward by him out towards Louis Coyle. Coyle chipping it left-footed towards the edge of the penalty area where it's half cleared. Brought back under control again. Once more with Seri. Played down the left flank for a little reverse ball that just simply hadn't been read by Ozan Tufan. Pelkas couldn't hide his dismay that the Turkish international wasn't on the same wavelength as him. Now Middlesbrough are going to be able to get it away.
Just look at the importance of Johnny Howson. I know from his time at Leeds United what a good pro he is, but just read that ball through there, got onto it, came out comfortably, nice simple pass, just open play up. He's such a good servant for Middlesbrough down the line.
274th game for Middlesbrough tonight, and he played more than 200 for Leeds. He played nearly 200 for Norwich. With more than 400 at this level. He got into 3 figures in the Premier League as well. We'll be hoping to add to that tally next season. Ball on the edge of the Middlesbrough penalty area is whacked away by Zach Steffen and headed back by Greaves. A return through the midfield by Howson in this deeper role that he's got now at centre-half alongside Lenihan, who's just come forward to meet that, and he's just given a shove under the flight of the ball by Pelkas, but plays allowed to continue, and Middlesbrough bringing forward again with Akpom, out towards Ryan Giles. It's back for Akpom again, trying to waltz his way through, and got his left foot caught underneath the ball, and so it went over the bar, out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, it was good play. Great little ball back to him, and he just never set. He was always leaning back as he took the shot on his left foot, and as a result it cleared the bar. But playing comfortably within themselves here, Borough, and keeping Hull at arm's length at 3-1. So reshuffle back forward, Johnny Howson in the middle of it, and Smith missing at right back, Dyke still there, but it still looks good enough at this moment in time to take the points.
Double change for Hull. And Doherty and Longman are coming on, and Seri and their goal scorer Sayab Manesh are the players that are being replaced here.
Yeah, but I think he's got to roll the dice a little bit, to be fair. Liam Rosinia, you know, it's a funny one for him because his side played ever so well first half. But then again, you look at it on paper, 3-1. It's quite comfortable at this moment in time for Borough.
17 points from 16 games they had when Michael Carrick took over. 21st in the table. If they hold on here, they'll have taken 57 from 27 games since he took charge. Their last playoff campaign back in the 17-18 season, they lost in the semi-finals to Aston Villa. They will still just mathematically have a chance of automatic promotion at the end of the night, providing Hull don't launch a fight back. Hull, though, have scored more goals in the last 15 minutes than any other team in the division. They do tend to get the trip, but it's going to be tough for them tonight with the injuries that they've got. The change is Greg Doherty on, a player who used to play his native Scotland with the likes of Hamilton and Rangers. He's not started for a good few weeks now, been cast in the role of substitute. A terrible ball out from the goalkeeper. He's back in from Jones, and Akpom has probably had his worst shot of the season. Coming onto it, he sliced it with his left foot, and it's gone out of play nearer the corner flag than the goal.
Yeah, leaning back again, reaching for it. It's not like him, Akpom. Really clinical in and around that second phase, but brilliant from Isaiah Jones. He's been a breath of fresh air since he's come on. I mean, Tom Smith was playing well at right back, but different dimension altogether with Dyke Steele at the back of Isaiah Jones, and letting the little fella trap on is really giving Borough a front foot mentality on that right hand side.
Joe Allen scored for Swansea earlier tonight. He's now been sent off. Swansea still leading that game 3-2 at home to Preston. They're still playing in stoppage time. Swansea down to 10 men. Hull on the front foot here. Howson brilliantly reading the situation. Academic as it turned out, because the offside flag was up against Callum Elder, but Howson, not to know that, track back, slid in and gets the appreciation from Zach Steffen for his ability there. 3-1 to Middlesbrough on Talksport 2. We've got 16 minutes to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's a tough one for all at this moment in time, because they've not done a lot wrong in this game. Just probably didn't come out of the traps for the first 5 minutes after half time, and within them moments, that's when the damage has been done. And Borough are up at the top end of the table for a reason. They've shown the true credentials tonight.
Don't forget, we've got both English clubs in Europe tomorrow night on day 11 of our 25 successive days of live football. Manchester United, who led in twice, conceded twice in the last 6 minutes to Sevilla last week. 2-2 from the first leg. They're in southern Spain tomorrow. It's live on Talksport with the build-up starting at 7 ahead of an 8 o'clock kick-off. Talksport 2, West Ham locked level with Belgian club Ghent, 1-1 from the first leg. They're in the East End of London tomorrow. That also kicks off at 8, and it's here on Talksport 2. Middlesbrough in possession, 3-1 up with 15 minutes to go. Back it goes for the old campaigner Howson to Hackney, who will certainly benefit. What an education he's getting as a central midfielder, playing alongside Howson and playing under Michael Carrick. I mean, it's the stuff dreams are made of.
Yeah, and he's perfect. He's perfect because, you know, he'll talk to him, he'll show him the role. Johnny Howson, obviously Michael Carrick's played at the highest level, one of the biggest teams in Europe in Manchester United. So he's got the perfect breeding ground here, Hackney.
He's been nominated, incidentally, for Manager of the Season, Michael Carrick, along with Vincent Kompany and also Mark Robbins. Here's Akpom, who is going to come close, I would imagine, to Championship Player of the Year. I would think. I don't know what makes me think that. The ball played forward by Hull, but away from Longman, who gave chase. Stefan bowls it out towards the left-hand side, and Middlesbrough will be able to bring it forward again. 13 to go. 3-1 to Middlesbrough, who trailed at half-time but scored 3 in 5 minutes. Hackney, Archer and Akpom to make it 3-1. Now as things stand, if Luton can't find a way back into that game at 10-man Reading, Borough will be up to third tonight, above Luton on goal difference, significantly better goal difference. So Borough's 30 as things stand, Luton's is 16. They'll be locked level on 74 points with 3 games to go after tonight, if the results stay as they are right now. Middlesbrough bringing it forward. Room for Matt Crooks in the midfield. And he can receive the ball and turn and gallivant forward and then get a return ball from Giles, but it just couldn't quite get into his stride. 6 inches out, and it came back off the back of his foot in the end, and Hull are able to clear it.
Yeah, one of the big things for me in this game tonight, and it's been a real trait all the way through the season for Borough, is how well they cross in wide areas. You know, they're really aware of the 6-yard box and the second 6-yard box. That's the area just in front of it. And people flood those areas, and they get on the end of things and they make things happen. They've scored countless goals from crosses this season.
And Giles often integral in that with his great delivery from the left. Interesting to see where he's playing his football next season as well, because he's always done well in these low spells that he's had. Middlesbrough bring it forward here with Akpom and trying to ride the challenge of Greaves. Both ended up on the deck. Akpom back to his feet more quickly. Finds Crooks. Back for Chuba. Akpom again. And now Jones will take over on the left-hand side of the penalty area. He then stumbled, and Pelkas, as a result of that, is going to be able to get it away and then give it away. Jones again, down towards the byline, chipped in, left-footed, Arch with a little header, and he split the difference between the goal and Akpom. It was an easier save than it might have been for Carl Darlow.
Brilliant again though, Jim. I'm just looking at, on the replay, how they flood the box and the areas that they pick up. I mean, this isn't done by coincidence. This is repeating on the training ground, practice. Great little cutback from Giles. It's a good little header, just needed a little bit more and it finds the back of the net, but fantastic play by Borough.
And that's why they've scored as many goals as they have. I mean, Burnley are going to be runaway champions as Pelkas fires well wide from the edge of the penalty area. But Middlesbrough have scored more goals than Burnley. They've got 82 now this season. They almost certainly by the end of the season will be averaging 2 goals a game, you would think. And when you can do that, you always fancy your chances in any game, and that would be fantastic form for a playoff campaign. Any side playing against them know that you're probably going to have to score 1 or 2 even to get any form of positive result.
Yeah, spot on. You know, and I look at tonight, and they've not played that badly here, Hull City, but you know, they've been comfortably beaten at the moment.
Swansea down to 10 men after Joe Allen's dismissal, but they've scored a 4th. Joel Peru on target again. That's 2 for him tonight, 19 for the season. There's going to be a 5th win in 6 for Swansea, and only a 30th lead in 13 for Preston. Swansea 4, Preston 2. It has finished Watford 1, Cardiff 3 at Vicarage Road. 3 goals in 10 minutes for Cardiff there. Now that's a massive result as far as they're concerned. And Luton have equalised at Reading. Carlton Morris, their leading scorer, 19th goal of the campaign for Luton, and the 10 men of Reading have been pegged back. It's Reading 1, Luton 1. Well, that means that Middlesbrough won't be ending the night third if the results stay as they are at the moment, but they will be able to bring the ball forward here and find Crooks. It was good play by Mowat. And then Archer just waiting for the ball to drop, and it looked as though for a moment Coyle was going to present it to him. Hull are able to work it back to their goalkeeper. Darlow gets it out and finds Traore. Traore in a much deeper role now because they've got Longman going through the middle with Ozan Tufan. Middlesbrough are going to make another change in a moment. Dan Barlasser is the player that's going to be introduced. Here's Ozan Tufan, the Turkish international, won 60 caps for his country, laying it back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Then becomes a fight ball. Callum Elder has won it. The man making his 100th appearance at this level tonight. He lays it back for Greaves, who was fouled by Akpom, and it's a free kick which will be taken on the left-hand side. So a change will be made by Middlesbrough, and they're going to bring Barlasser on for Mowat, and as they do so, let's get full-time details of that game at Vicarage Road. Ian Abrahams.
For 1, Cardiff 3, first-half goals from Kit Pray and Teze, and a brilliant overhead kick by Cabra, cancelled out Sarle's goal. Cardiff up to 19th, Watford kissed goodbye to the playoffs, they were dreadful. Watford 1, Cardiff 3.
That's another shocking result for Watford. Coventry have equalised right at the end at Blackburn. Blackburn 1, Coventry 1. Looks as though Rovers were going to end the night in 5th. But Coventry have equalised right at the end of that game. And it might even have been, I'll confirm it for you in a moment, it might even have been the goalkeeper forward for a corner that has scored the goal. Blackburn 1, Coventry 1 with pretty much the last touch of the day. That has finished 1-1 there, and that's a massive blow for Yondale Thomason's men. In fact, Mickey Gray can give us the full-time details from there. Mick?
Yes, it's finished here, Jim. Blackburn Rovers 1, Coventry City 1. Blackburn took the lead on 38 minutes in the first half with a great ball in from Rankin Costello, and Sam Gallagher just headed the ball low into the bottom corner. He came out in the second half and it was all Blackburn yet again. Lots of chances, but we had 5 minutes of added on time, and literally at the last touch of the game, the goalkeeper Ben Wilson from Coventry City came up for a corner. He's got himself into the 6-yard area and the ball has been bundled into the back of the net. It's a nightmare for the home side. I don't think a draw really suits either of these sides, but what a lifeline for Coventry City. Finished here at Ewood Park. Blackburn Rovers 1, Coventry City 1.
Yeah, it is a lifeline for Coventry because they're a point adrift of the playoff positions. They've played a game more than Blackburn and West Brom, who are the two sides immediately above them. Blackburn up into 6, but we'll feel that it should have been much better than that. Blackburn 1, Coventry 1, as Mickey was saying. This one, 3-1 to Middlesbrough. We've got 6.5 minutes to go. It's played forward by Traore for Hull City. Callum Elder making a run down the left-hand side. And he will be able to deliver. Locked again. Good defending, good resolute play at the back by the Middlesbrough midfield. It was Dan Barlasser that got in the way to block it. And Hull will make another double change. So Woods and Simons are the players that are coming on. Ryan Woods, the central midfielder, former Brentford and Birmingham man, and Xavier Simons, the 20-year-old who signed from Chelsea, where he made one appearance for the first team. And they're the players that are coming on. Traore is going to be coming off, and Pelkas is coming off as well. Woods and Simons for Traore and Pelkas.
Yeah, that looks like they're shoring up the midfield with Woods, maybe going 3 in there now. Maybe a bit limitation damage, I don't know. Still looks like a 4-4-2 though.
Swansea beaten Preston by 4-2. Details to follow in a moment. Middlesbrough are able to lay the ball out to Crooks. He's one of 9 substitutes on the field now. Here's another, Barlasser. Not too far in front of the back 4. Just rolling it forward into the feet of Hayden Hackney, who hit the post early in the game. And then scored the first of Middlesbrough's 3 quick-fire goals. Middlesbrough 3, Hull 1 the score. 5 minutes to go. You're listening on Talksport 2 with Carlin, the UK's number 1 lager, 18+. Please drink responsibly. Hull succumbing to the Middlesbrough press again. It's Jones, it's Akpom! That's a good save by Carl Darlow. Came out, narrowed the angle really quickly as Akpom tried to shoot on the turn. Darlow was in the way and was able to save with his body.
Yeah, it's a fantastic save by Darlow. But it's unlucky Akpom because he's hit the target, he could argue. It's that man again, Isaiah Jones, who's been a real breath of fresh air for Borough in the second half. I mean, he's caused all sorts of problems in this right wing position. But they just look a little bit loose at the back now, Hull. I don't know if the belief has gone out of the way they can get something out of this game tonight, just with the manner of the goals and how they've gone in for Borough. But they played so well first half, but they've been a shadow of themselves second.
2 more quick Champions League goals. Inter Milan 3, Benfica 2 now. Antonio Silva's just pulled one back for Benfica. Correa had given Inter a 3-1 lead on the night, and that's 5-2 on aggregate to Inter Milan, and we're going through to the semi-finals. Here's Dijksteel, who's never scored for Middlesbrough, finding Jones. Jones clipping it inside the penalty area, and Crooks did well to get across his man and the goalkeeper, but his header's gone wide.
He's brave there, to be fair, Big Matt Crooks. It's a fantastic ball in again from Isaiah Jones. Just left it right in the middle of the goal. He times his run well, Crooks, climbs above the goalkeeper, but he does enough just to put him off and he misses the target. That could easily have been 4.
There's been a better balance about them in the second half, hasn't there, with Jones playing instead of Force on that side?
Yeah, but he's given them an outlet, you know, and I think his pace has been a problem for Callum Elder. Not really dealt with him, not really got close to him. You know, I mean, little things like Johnny Howson going in at the back and shoring things up there and coming out with the ball and playing. You know, they're a really well-rounded, balanced squad, and they're comfortable adapting to different positions. You can see that. Manager's got to take a lot of credit, Michael Carrick.
Manchester City have conceded at the Allianz Arena. Bayern Munich 1, Man City 1. Joshua Kimmich from the penalty spot. Haaland missed the penalty in the first half for City, but has scored his 48th of the season. 4-1 the aggregate lead in Manchester City's favour. Only 7 minutes to go, though. They're going to be fine. But you can imagine Pep will be frustrated if they don't extend it to 11 straight wins in all competitions. Middlesbrough bringing it forward here, looking to make it 10 home wins in 12. If Greaves can bring it away, and then Hull will be able to bring it further forward. Just showed too much of it at the house, and that was not speed of legs necessarily, but speed of thought. Just read the situation perfectly, stepping up from the defensive line at the right moment. And Barlasser then is fouled and wins a free kick from Woods on halfway. It's 3-1 to Middlesbrough in the closing stages. 2 minutes to go. Oh, Akpom from 45 yards saw Darlow off his line, but didn't quite get the elevation right on the flighted lob.
Yeah, that's a player with confidence, playing with confidence. You know, it's a fantastic bit of awareness. He saw the keeper just slightly off his line, and he's unlucky really. A little bit, a yard higher, and that goes in over Darlow.
Now let's get full-time details from South Wales. 6 goals and a proper old-fashioned skirmish for Lawrence Mora.
Oh my days, Swansea 4, Preston 2, 6 goals, 2 red cards, a 30-man brawl. It was epic stuff. Swans looked out of sight at the break, 3 up. North End's Tom Cannon and Troy Parrott scored in the second half. That made it interesting. Late on we had an almighty touchline scrap. Preston manager Ryan Lowe and Joe Allen, who was a sub at the time, they were both red carded. And then deep into added on time, Joel Peru wrapped it up with his 19th of the season. Preston's playoff hopes lying in tatters as the games run out. Swansea 4, Preston 2.
Thank you, Lawrence. We're in the 89th minute of this one, and a free kick to Middlesbrough on the right-hand touchline.
Yeah, just how the stats have changed in all this half, Jim. You know, you're looking at the expected goals, 2.16 now for Borough, only 0.93 for Hull City. Had to contain this Borough side for much of this second half, and they've been outstanding, to be fair. Really shown the credentials as side capable of getting out of this division.
Now, to put that in perspective, Hull had a better XG at half-time. They've only been able to add to it by just a shade over 0.1 of the goal in this second half in the face of this Middlesbrough possession. I mean, it's been a really, really good second half performance. Hull very good in the first 45 minutes, but Borough have been outstanding in the second.
Yeah, and it's the control and the manner of it. You know, they've not got flustered. You know, they've kept doing the right things. They've got the goals at the right time. You know, I mean, if you've got somebody with nearly 30 goals coming from midfield, coming from that 10th position in Chuba Akpom, then you know you've got the confidence to go and win games.
We've gone into stoppage time. 3 added minutes. Ryan Giles on the front foot here for Middlesbrough, pulling it back inside the penalty area. Crooks with a layoff. Barlasser trying his luck. Now Crooks, and it's high and wide at the top right-hand corner. Let's get full-time details from Loftus Road. Charlotte Richardson.
Full-time QPR 1, Norwich 1, and you really do wonder if a point will be of any use for either of these sides. QPR's opener from Lyndon Dykes was cancelled out by half-time substitute Adam Eder. It was a nervy, it was an edgy game, and neither side had a cool head to show match-winning quality or composure to warrant what would have been 3 very valuable points. Full-time QPR 1, Norwich 1.
Well, if Reading can't find a late winner against Luton, Queen's Park Rangers will be a point clear of the bottom 3. Middlesbrough looking for goal number 4. Akpom as he brought down. Jones couldn't quite get in a position to walk the ball into the net. Akpom gets off his knees with arms outstretched, pleading with the referee. Hull are allowed to bring it away.
Brilliant by Dan Barlasser as well, breaking from midfield. Fantastic play. He's unlucky not to get his second of the night. Akpom.
Barlasser's got it now. Plays it back for Howson. Now Lenihan. Akpom, oh what a turn. Just dragged the ball with the studs of his right foot towards his opponent on the half turn. Coyle didn't read it. And Akpom then was able to play it on the half turn and whip it out towards the right hand side where Jones's pace is going to cause problems again for Callum Elder. Elder faces him up, Jones slips it down the side of him. Hackney with a good run, he checks back towards the edge of the area for Barlasser. Barlasser into the feet of Archer. Oh, great turn from Archer as well. There'll be some goal if they can find a finish to this move. Harrison working it out towards the left hand side for Giles. Giles attacking the corner of the penalty area, then stops. Waits for support to arrive. Fires it in, left footed in towards the near post, and it's hit Simons and goes out of play for a corner.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing with such confidence. It's almost cruel, that little bit of play by Borough around the box. They're teasing Hull a little bit with a little 5-yard passes into the box and then back out, across the box, out to the left-hand side. They force a corner from it, but absolutely dominated this second half, Middlesbrough.
So the corner will be taken. Mark of the last of the game on the Middlesbrough left-hand side. In towards the near post there. It's a good defensive header by Coyle. Well, fine touch. Goes out of play for a throw almost midway inside his own half. It was a very good piece of defending. Giles will bring it forward again and then just drops the ball off at the feet of a teammate. Play forward towards Cam Archer. The left-hand side of the penalty area. He'll take it down towards the corner flag. He's got 2 Hull players around him. And the referee signals the end of the game. Middlesbrough keeping their hopes alive. Very, very faint hopes. But mathematically they could still win automatic promotion. What will most please Michael Carrick, though, is the performance in this second half. Realistically, they know what their fate is. It's a playoff campaign. But if they can play in that playoff campaign as they did for most of this second half tonight, they're going to be the ones that will take some stopping. Chuba Akpom with the record-breaking goal. First player for 25 years to score in 9 successive home games in the Championship. Hackney and Archer had scored in the 5 minutes prior to that. Hull had led at half-time. Simply found Borough too hot to handle in the opening stage of the second half. Michael Carrick, big beaming grin on his face at the full-time whistle because his Borough side had beaten Hull 3-1.